From the Sunshine State, this is Tampa Bay's Tan Talk.
It's time for FLALAW, brought to you by the personal injury attorneys of Perinick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes. This hour will be informative, along with taking your questions and comments. Now, here are your hosts for today's show.
Good evening. It is Tuesday at 5 o'clock, and that means you are here listening to FLALAW on the radio. This is Matthew Noyes. I'm one of the attorneys at the law firm of Perinick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes, the proud presenters of FLALAW on the radio. We are a personal injury law firm that has been involved in the Tampa Bay community since 1955. This is our 71st year of helping people after car accidents, trip and falls, slip and falls, malpractice, workers' comp claims, and even Social Security disability matters. So we're here to really give an opportunity for you to ask questions regarding the law. We are here every Tuesday night from 5 until 6 o'clock. And we are honored to have you listening to FLALAW. I'm not here alone, though. I have a return guest, a very special guest. He's back by popular demand. Although he's not a lawyer, his work has been instrumental in many of my car accident cases. Anyone who wants to know or needs to know immediate information about a crash, a crime, or any really event that happens in Tampa Bay may know his work, but they may not know him. But so this is the opportunity to know him, and that is Stephen Hirschfield. Stephen is the creator and the manager of the Facebook page and website IONTB, or as I call it, Ion Tampa Bay. Stephen, thanks again for coming on today's show. I appreciate your last appearance generated such a lot of discussion that I thought it'd be great to have you come back and share your story and your knowledge about, to our listeners as well.
I appreciate it, Matt. Thank you very much.
Sure. So listeners, stay tuned because we're about to talk about the inside scoop of one of Tampa Bay's most trusted news sources, Ion Tampa Bay, and also get Stephen's insight on some of the current events in Tampa Bay. But as I said, this is a live call-in show, so we welcome you to give us a call. You can call us at 727-441-3000. Or you can find us on Facebook Live as well, and our firm page at Perinick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes Injury Lawyers. Perinick is spelled P-E-R-E-N-I-C-H. And you can type in your comment right there on our Facebook page, and we can address that comment if you don't want to call in. And yet there's a third way to get in touch with us today, and that is on our YouTube page. And that's also Perinick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes Injury Lawyers. Ed on the other side of the glass is monitoring that, and he will let us know if there's any comments on our YouTube page. And so 3 ways to get in touch with us, to talk to Stephen and myself, and also to get your input on the things we're going to be talking about. So without further ado, Stephen, thanks again. And for those that may have missed your last guest appearance on FLALAW on the radio, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and your background before Ion Tampa Bay? Because you have a very detailed background, well-versed in everything. So
well, thank you again for the kind words.
Sure.
I didn't know if I'd ever get invited back. I appreciate it. That's great. But yeah, born and raised in this area, pharmacist by trade, went to the University of Florida, and been active with all kinds of stuff with emergency services, amateur radio, disaster preparedness, emergency management here with the county, and pretty involved here with the City of Seminole Fire Rescue with their community emergency response team. So been doing all of that. I've worked alongside many of our first responders, and IONTB was about 13 years ago now.
Wow.
Kind of started really as a tribute to our first responders. It started out with going out there, taking pictures of the men and women doing their jobs. It started with a large fire in Dunedin many years ago. Got my new camera, went out there, did some great photos, some great video. Unfortunately, the candle factory burned down. But again, some of the things we report on aren't great news, great news stories, but it's
still newsworthy.
It's newsworthy, and it's what our men and women do every day. and just trying to bring that to light, and was offering them, photos, no cost. Just did a lot of stuff on Canvas, I'd given out to, some of our first responders. And then as it started going on and social media starts ramping up, I started getting more followers, through the social media, and we're now pushing, I think, coming up on 202,000 followers just on Facebook alone.
Wow.
500,000 page views, on our website per month, and at one point late last year we were hitting 48 million page views a month on Facebook alone.
Wow.
So it's definitely grown into a large organization that people depend on. But again, it's mostly a one-man show.
It is a one-man show. You do it just about yourself, right?
Just about.
Your wife knows where you are all the time,
That's
right?
right. She wants to know where I am. She could always just go ahead and check, Facebook to see where I am.
Yeah, that's right.
So, it's definitely keeps me busy, going out there. And it's really community-based news. I don't know everything that's going on, but today alone, I just started getting pictures of fires, or we just had a recent near drowning there in Dunedin, and I'm getting pictures as these things are going on. So it's really, I wouldn't be here without the support of everybody else. So it's kind of it's teamwork.
It's the community getting involved as well. I mean, it's just the average Joe or Joan is sending you photos and information as well. Is that right?
Yep.
That's
Definitely.
wonderful.
So
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah, and as you said, it started out as a helpful tool for firefighters, and it continues to be a helpful tool.
It does, and we do a lot of work with them, and I do record a lot of the scanner traffic, and a lot of the agencies are using it for training purposes as well, and it's that building that relationship with our first responders is important. I'm going tomorrow morning. Truck 29 with the City of Seminole is being put into service. Beautiful new truck that they have. So I was invited to go cover that.
Oh, wonderful!
And
and you do a lot. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about what you. I know you don't like to talk about it, but you do a lot for the community and the emergency response teams and such like that. Whether it's a hurricane or other means that you're involved in the community, giving back to those in need. Is that right?
Right. So yeah, I wear different hats, and I'm pretty involved, like I said, with the City of Seminole, Fire Rescue, with the Community Emergency Response Team. So I am on the firefighter rehab team, do a lot of the volunteer work for them as well. So, I do get paged out to working structure fires in the Seminole Fire District. I would then go out, I'm wearing that hat. I'm not wearing my IONTB hat.
Right.
So it's kind of balancing, I won't report on stuff that if I'm on scene as part of that organization, I'm not reporting unless other media is there, and then that information is shared.
Right.
So it's just trying to separate that.
And you were involved in the medical community as a pharmacist, right? For many years, right?
Many years. So
decades, I would say,
oh,
right?
Stop. Now you're aging me. I told you about that last time.
That's why I had to say it.
So yeah, I did retail pharmacy for quite some time, and then did infusion pharmacy for the past 20 years for a local hospital organization.
Okay.
So took care of the patients, get them out of the hospital, get them into their comfortable home environment, and basically, review labs and go over therapies with them and consult with their medical providers.
How did that background in the medical field help you to develop ION Tampa Bay and continue it, if it did at all?
Yeah, I don't know if it did. I mean, just being compassionate, working with people that are ill, some people terminally ill.
Right.
They're hospice type patients and pain med patients and cancer patients. So it's dealing with that. And we talked about that last time, that it's not unusual that you got a family member to call to talk about, hey, what happened? And I told the story last time of the vehicle that went in the water, and some people are like, oh, how dare you post that picture? And it was a picture of 30 first responders around somebody from a distance. All you saw was 30 first responders around in a circle, but you couldn't see anybody. And that let them know that I know everything that could have been done was done.
Right.
So it's those kind of things. Because again, somebody may get a phone call or a knock at the door that somebody had passed away, but they don't really know what happened.
Right. And we talked about that. And that's one of the benefits and one of the, I don't know if I want to call it services, but one of the good things that you do as part of the ION Tampa Bay is that people that may be involved in a crash that's posted on ION Tampa Bay may not be getting the answers that they need. And so they sometimes reach out to you.
Right. They reach out to me, but also through the post, people start posting. They saw what happened. It brings about witnesses. I'm sure you all look at those comments. People may not reach out and say, hey, I saw this, or call law enforcement, but they kind of see it and say, no, that's not what happened. I saw it. Right. So that's a venue that people are like, why don't you just turn the comments off of Facebook? Well, there are ridiculous comments, and we try to block or hide as many as we can that are irrelevant. But there is some that are relevant that actually helps.
And I think I may have told you last time is I represented somebody whose car accident was posted on ION Tampa Bay, and there was a witness that wasn't on the accident report that witnessed it and commented on it. So we were able to get in touch with them and get more information as well. So.
And we see that, and there's also people that don't want their name out there. So there's things that in the past were, they want it out there, but they don't want their name out there. So it could be a crash. It could be that horrible, the street racers off 28th where the kid got hit by a motorcycle. I had video of the whole incident that happened, but the person didn't want to come forward because then they could be charged as watching an exhibition of a car race, and police are like, no. I'm like, I had the video. We turned it over, and it got out there to law enforcement for their investigation. They successfully prosecuted.
Yeah, that's it's so helpful, and so. Just looking at your website, I looked at it today, this morning, and it's probably even changed since then, but there was a pedestrian severely injured in a hit-and-run driver, I think she was a DUI, who hit her, or hit the pedestrian.
That was crazy. Yeah. You didn't read the whole thing, did you?
I couldn't read the whole thing.
You got the attention span of that.
Yeah, I know. I got the attention span of a personal injury attorney.
So, right. Do I take the case or not? So, there was the woman had been to a concert, most likely at the Sound. There was a concert at the Sound. And a pedestrian got hit at Osceola and Drew, which is right there at the Sound. Because it mentioned she was at a concert. I'm sure that's where she was. And she drove off, and she was at Drew and Northeast Coachman, got in another crash with a car.
Oh, I didn't see that. I should have read the whole article.
No one reads them. They make comments. And so she got arrested for DUI. And then they later found out that she was the one involved in hitting the pedestrian. And then somebody on my site saying, I was in a crash too, and some lady ran. I think it was the same lady. So now they're like, call the police.
Oh, my goodness.
So, yeah, it's crazy. You can't make this stuff up.
People are crazy. And then there was 2 women charged with throwing a dog out of an SUV.
Yeah,
I saw that.
3-year-old dog. She just threw him out of the SUV. I heard the dog passed away. There was no information on that, right? I just saw the arrest affidavits. They were involved. They didn't want to pay to have the dog taken care of. Cranium was exposed. Just horrific. And you got Dexter's Law just passed. So whatever they get, plus they'll be on a database. But it's horrible.
So there's all kinds of things, and that's just the website and the Facebook page. That's changing.
Crash after crash after crash.
That's changing every moment of the day.
I can't even keep up. It's starting to really pick up. We went through a kind of a slower period in January, February, and it's starting to pick up now.
Slow period.
Now we got spring break coming, right?
Yeah, and that leads us right into what we wanted to really talk about.
Good segue.
I like that. You must have a podcast or somewhere. You should get one. But that leads us right into it, and that is, I suspect over the next several weeks, there's going to be a whole bunch on ION Tampa Bay's website and on the Facebook about what's happening in spring break.
Yeah, it's already kicked off.
Yeah. So what better thing to talk about than it's what's going to happen in spring break and what's already happened?
Well, we know what happens, right?
Yeah.
It takes forever to get to Clearwater Beach.
It does take forever to get to Clearwater Beach.
I don't know who was. I'm sure people have been stuck in that traffic going over the bridge. So I'll talk a little bit on my website. I did put up, about the park and ride service.
Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about that?
So started March 1st. It already started because there are some people from up north that are here enjoying the weather.
I've seen the
weather. Got a little cold.
I've seen the weather up there.
Yeah, right. My buddy in Boston right now that helps me out, Tim, he just sent me a picture. It's snowing again. I'm like, yeah, you're missing it. You're missing out. So, but they did do the free spring break park and ride service did start already March 1st. It's going to run through March 22nd, and it kicks off again in April for the Sugar Sand Festival.
Yeah.
So it's on the website. It's basically it's Friday and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to midnight. There's free parking there on the mainland side of the bridge. And
does it say where on the mainland side?
It's there's all kinds of different parking areas.
Okay.
And there's a map I do have on the website. It's park and ride locations: the Guild parking lot, Guild Street, and MLK. You got the Pinellas County parking garage at 310 South Court
Right
Street.
by the courthouse.
That's the Jolly Jollies.
Yeah.
Garden Avenue parking garage, and it drops you off basically at the Marina or the Pier 60. So, how many vehicles do you think pass through that roundabout daily during spring break?
Oh my!
I'll just tell you,
tens of thousands.
50,000 vehicles
Wow.
pass through that roundabout.
Wow! And
A day.
I'm a local, and I can't maneuver my way through
I
that
have
roundabout.
no desire to.
So,
And I guess you still have the ferry as well, is also running as well.
yes.
So
Wow. So that's a great way to try to avoid the traffic, at least onto the beach side, is by having the park and ride.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's still going to take a while. I don't know if they're going to have an express lane for those buses, but
Still.
I've seen that traffic from being on the water. First thing in the morning, it's just backed up. Not first thing in the morning, and once people wake
Right.
up and
Yeah.
get going in this age group.
Yeah.
And then the afternoons, getting back off the beach, it feels like it's July 4th all over again.
Exactly.
So it's kind of crazy.
No, and we've seen it. I mean, it's beautiful down here. You know,
Yeah, we take it for granted.
Yeah, but there's a lot of spring breakers that are gawking at the beauty around on the left side and the right side, and they don't see the car in front of them. And so we end up representing a lot of people that get hurt in car accidents because somebody's enjoying the beauty of Clearwater Beach or any of the other beaches around.
And you got impaired driving.
Impaired driving, yeah.
Kids don't, adults don't make great decisions either.
Right.
But obviously, we got issues with, alcohol and impairment from drugs. A lot of drugs going on. There's a lot of things we could talk about in terms of spring break safety.
Yeah. What have they put into effect already? I know we talked about the ride, the park and ride. But you were telling me about a drone.
So
a drone service, which was very interesting.
So they got the park and ride system for traffic. Clearwater Police did launch, I think on the 1st, a pilot. I hate saying a drone pilot. Sounds like a drone pilot. A pilot program dealing with drones that they could, after a 911 call, and they have live 911 now, right? So EMS, law enforcement, they don't have to wait for the call taker to relay it to the radio dispatcher to then relay it over the radio or the computer to the first responders. They could actually tune in live and listen to that live 911 call as the person's calling.
Is that new?
It's fairly new,
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't know
law
that.
enforcement was
I didn't know they could do
using it.
that.
It's now being rolled over to EMS as well.
Oh, that's a great idea.
It creates a little havoc, and they're talking to the person in the dispatch, and they don't even have it yet. So they're working it out, but it's definitely real beneficial information in high, critical incidents. And we always have the issues during spring break or the beach in general with missing kids, disturbances, fights. Right? We've seen that in the past on the beach. It's a big deal. Water rescues, people renting boats, renting jet skis. It's going to be there. It's going to be busy. You're going to see it on my site. But they could basically launch that drone. They're ready to go. I believe they're autonomous. They could just basically launch and get over that site, and they'll have a command. They'll have a command bus there, and they could actually see, because traffic's a mess. Law enforcement, they'll be on their mules and their little carts, and they're going to have a problem navigating too.
Yeah, it's not just...
And you just see thousands of people, and you got to get people out of the way. So it's an eye in the sky, and it'll be interesting to see how it'll definitely get them better utilize resources and get eyes in the sky sooner to see what's going on.
Is a pilot program just for spring break, or do they extend it
I think it's
further?
a month, so it's going to be spring break's already running, and it'll be running into April. I don't know the exact dates of it.
I'd like to see how
but
that
they're
goes.
talking, within a minute they could be overhead of whatever they're looking for, and missing kids and missing people and water rescues. It's
so
kind of crazy. And I do a lot of drone stuff as well.
Okay.
So I do a lot of drone aerial stuff on as another side.
You're much better than I am. I have a drone at home. I think I flew it once and it landed in a tree.
Probably don't.
And it landed in a tree, and my son was like, "Okay, we're not going to fly that again."
Yeah. So they got that program. Obviously sunscreen's important as a healthcare provider, right? Use that high SPF. Hydrate, water, Gatorade. No alcohol on the beach, no glassware on the beach.
That's the law.
It is the law.
It is the law, and people don't always follow that law.
Yeah, and the drinking age is 21.
The drinking age is 21, and I did want to talk about that a little bit because, people come down from other states, and they may be able to drink at 19 or 20, but they're not.
Other countries, I don't know about other states.
I think there's other states, actually.
Is there?
Yeah.
I thought they tied highway funds to everyone having to be 21.
I'll have to look that up. But
I don't know. We'll see.
But
other countries,
I can
18 and 19, no problem. So,
but in the state of Florida, it's still
21. It's
still 21, and and what some people don't understand is say, oh well, the bar served somebody over 21, we should hold them responsible for the actions. And unfortunately, in the state of Florida, it's pretty clear that the law says that no, the bar owner or the bar itself, although he's the one who served the alcohol that caused the DUI crash that ran over somebody, the bar's not automatically responsible. But there are two caveats.
Yeah.
One is if they knowingly served a known drunk. That's almost impossible to prove that you knew that he was a drunk. But another one is if he willfully or unlawfully served somebody under 21. Okay. And so if the key there is willfully and knowingly, and so I saw the fake ID, but that's still not enough. If the fake ID usage could have been detected,
or they just didn't check ID,
then they could be held responsible. And what was understood, what I appreciated that I didn't really appreciate till a case happened, was it's not just the bar owner,
it's the bartender.
Or the server can be responsible as well.
Civilly.
Yeah, civilly. Yeah, for that. And also, if you're hosting a party, and there's people under 21 and they're drinking and they cause an accident, they cause injury, the host is responsible.
Even if they're away and their kid's hosting the party.
Exactly true. It could be.
Yeah. My kid's got the riot act.
So that's important to know. But alcohol consumption is a problem. Not only does it cause car crashes and other types of accidents, but there's theft, vandalism because of alcohol consumption, and damage to beach property.
Right. Stupid decisions.
And
that could be from other drugs of impairment as well.
Exactly.
And I know last year, I think it was last year, the year before, they were actually giving out Narcan on the beach as part of their campaign. Yeah. I don't know if they're doing it this year.
But what else is going on that can make our Clearwater Beach and all the beaches a little bit safer?
Yeah, St. Pete Beach is a very popular spot, and it's hard to tell how busy it's going to be, right? A lot of people are going to go to Mexico. And
no, they can't.
Well, they
can. They can, but
things have calmed down, but there's infighting now, right?
Yes.
They're looking for that new cartel leader. So because of what's going on in Mexico, obviously, a lot of people did cancel their plans, and there may be more people here than they think. I think they're looking at not all spring break people, but I think 3.2 to 3.3 million people going through Tampa International in the month of March.
Wow. That is crazy.
That's nuts. And that's higher than, it could just be weather and people coming here, but either way, it's more people on the beaches, it's more people. You'll see it on the roads, if it's even possible. It's crazy out there.
That's right.
But, we talk about sunscreens, we talk about impairment, you mentioned theft, right? People need to be head on a swivel. Situational awareness is really important. Don't become a victim.
Right.
Stay in groups. Don't go out by themselves. Rip currents are big here.
That's true.
Okay, we see this all the time.
People may not even know what a rip current is if they're just visiting our area.
So there are, I think, 7 lifeguard stations. If you could be by a lifeguard station, be by a lifeguard station. They have that aerial view. They could actually see the dark areas. Could identify. You see it great from a drone.
Oh, okay.
You can actually visualize, where
the rip current is.
Where the rip current.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and they could put up red flags, no swims. There could be marine life purple flags. So pay attention to the flags, especially on Clearwater Beach where they have these lifeguard stations. Rip currents don't pull you under. There are signs at the beaches. A lot of people that travel here, they don't know. Rip currents pull you out.
Okay.
So they don't pull you out. So what happens is people, they're being pulled out. They're trying to swim against the current. They fatigue, and that's where they end up drowning.
Yeah.
If you swim 100 yards to the side, you're out of the rip current. So it's important that people understand just swim parallel to the shore, not against the current, and you'll get out of the rip current. So it's a matter of panic, fear, irrational thought. You don't think about it. But if you have it in your toolbox, just swim parallel to the shore. Don't panic. Easier said than done.
I know it.
But there are a lot of signs up, and it's important. But again, stay near the lifeguard stations if you can. Don't leave your wallets, your purses, your phones, on the beach when people aren't looking at them. In the hotels, make sure you're putting stuff in the safe. Lock it in the safe. It's the safest place to be. Don't leave things out in your car, on your seats. Try to put them in the trunk in less visible areas.
Lock your doors.
Lock your doors.
It's amazing how people
unlock your doors. Keep your firearm there so everyone can see it. Not a good thing.
That's right.
And obviously, boating safety is a big thing. We've had our incidents recently of
I do want to talk about that, but I want to remind our listeners that if you're just tuning in, you are listening to FLA Law on the radio. My name is Matthew Noyce. I'm one of the attorneys at the law firm of Pernick, Caulfield, Averlin, Noyce. We are a personal injury law firm, one of the oldest in Tampa Bay and the longest established in Clearwater. We've been around since 1955. And we proudly present FLA Law every Tuesday here on WTAN, Talk Tan, to be an opportunity for you to ask questions and to get some information regarding the activities and the events that may impact you in Tampa Bay. I'm not here alone. Again, I have a very special guest. I have Stephen Hirschfield here. He's the creator and manager, the one-man show of ION Tampa Bay, which is I call it the leading, fastest way to get information on events happening in Tampa Bay. So we are talking about spring break safety. So if you have questions, give us a call at 727-441-3000 or jump on our Facebook page. We are live on Facebook right now at Pernick, Caulfield, Averlin, Noyce, Injury Lawyers. Jump in there and type in your comment or question on there. Or you can also go through our YouTube channel at, again, Pernick, Caulfield, Averlin, Noyce, the YouTube. And Ed on the other side of the glass will let us know what your comments and what your thoughts are. So, Stephen, I want to jump back into the boating activity because we talked about how packed the roads in the beach areas are, but the waters are also packed, and there's risk of stupid behavior, and maybe not just stupid behavior, but also
lack of knowledge.
Lack of knowledge. Kids want to come, not just kids, but also people want to come down from the south. Say, let me captain a boat, And I know that there was that horrible boating accident with the Clearwater Ferry several months ago now, I think it's been.
It was a long time.
It's still going on, and
Yes.
that kind of activity is still going on. So what's your advice, and what do you suspect you'll be having to post about in spring break when it comes to boating?
I can predict it. I can write the articles already. It's every year. It's going to be the personal watercraft, the jet skis, because a lot of people rent them. They're rent them out of Johns Pass, going to rent them out of Clearwater. So the law basically says operators born before 1987 have to have a boater safety course. It's a requirement. But when you go rent it, here's the questions. It's you don't really study it, right? You just they give you some information, you take the test, and you get your little safety card. But I urge people, get educated. Don't just do it just to pass the test. I think my kids did it when we were in Mexico, rented jet skis or something, or actually we were in the Keys. But yeah, when you rent, at least you're going to have the safety equipment, right? You're going to have the life vest and all the stuff you need to. But
And just because you have it, you have to make sure you use it.
They'll be sheriff's office. They'll be on the water. FWC and Coast Guard. They're going to be trying to prevent. Right?
Are they out there more during spring break than normally?
Oh yeah. They're all over the place.
Yeah, that's good.
So they're definitely out there. So unlike I could drive a boat right now and have a beer in my hand, right? You can't do it when you're driving a car, but you go in a boat.
I didn't think you could.
You can.
Can you really?
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Not advisable. I never drink when I'm operating the boat. I just got another boat. My kid, he drinks. He ain't gonna drink on the boat. He told me. There's just no way. Right. From a liability perspective, again, even if it's not your fault, you still can be charged with BUI or DUI.
You sure can.
So
you sure can.
Have emergency gear. How many times have we heard recently 3 or 4 stories of people going out, no VHF radio? They don't have anything.
Right.
They're getting away from flares. In fact, used to be expired flares on your boat. Now it's like they don't even want pyrotechnics. They have like basically LED strobe lights.
Oh, okay.
For nighttime and infrared as well. So there's a search that infrared light just blinds them. The helicopters. So have the strobe. There's all kinds of EPIRBs and personal beacons that you could have. Obviously VHF radio, cell phones. They may work 5 miles out, may work 15 miles out. It's intermittent. You don't know.
Right.
But you got to have your life vest, proper life vest, proper fitting life vest. If it's a child, an infant, a dog.
Yeah. No, you need it all.
So you need it all.
And it's not only to protect the people that you may cause a crash to, or you may crash into, but it's also the people on your boat. Even if you don't care about the people, or you're not thinking about the people. I shouldn't say you don't care. If you're not thinking about the people outside of your boat, the people on your boat are usually your friends and family.
Right.
And you want to take extra precaution to make sure that you're being safe for them, which in exchange makes you safe for everybody else on the water as well.
Right. And marine life. Respect marine life. People getting up on those manatees and chasing down things, just keep your distance. And and the problem with personal watercraft and jet skis, they like jumping boats' wakes. And sometimes they cut it a little too close. And we've seen a couple of those incidents, and trying to jump wakes, either hitting each other or hitting the other vessels. So it's scary out there.
It is scary.
Obviously, we talk about marine life. Stingrays, they're all over the beach now.
Yeah.
Shuffle your feet.
Yeah, stingray shuffle is what I understand.
Stingray shuffle. Yeah. You don't want to end up in an urgent care or a ER, on your spring break, or even being a resident here. So we know about the stingray shuffle. So it's kind of important. A lot of pedestrians, a lot of bicycles and e-bikes and
we're gonna get to the e-bikes. Before I get to the e-bikes, because I want to make sure I do it, and I want to make sure Ed wants us to talk about the e-bikes as well.
Everyone wants to talk about e-bikes.
I know, but
love them and hate them.
That's right. I do want to talk though, because I think this is important, and people don't really appreciate the law until it impacts them. And that's the law having to do with rental cars and Uber accidents.
Ubers and Lyfts, and it's a big issue.
And they're two totally different things. And many spring break riders use rental cars or Uber for ride sharing. And as a personal injury, I see a lot of crashes involving those things. And it's interesting that although they are means of having somebody else's car drive you around, the protection that you have are totally different if you're injured because of that. Because in Florida, actually throughout the nation, because of the Graves Amendment, rental cars are protected. If I let you drive my car and you cause a crash, you're responsible, but I am, as the owner, is also responsible under what's called the dangerous instrumentality doctrine. Unless you're a rental car. If you're a rental car, although you got money to let somebody drive your car, you're not responsible.
Big company got the carve out.
That's exactly right. So the rental cars have that carve out. So if you're injured from somebody who's driving a rental car, you better have uninsured motorist coverage, because it's going to be very hard to make a recovery for your damages from the rental car or the person who lives in Canada who rented the car that's now back in Canada that you try to bring a suit against.
Sound like you've dealt with that.
We've done that too many times. But alternatively, Uber, Lyft, and the other ride sharing. Fortunately, there's a law that says that if an Uber driver causes a crash, they're required to have bodily injury liability coverage and significant bodily injury liability coverage, depending on whether or not they had a passenger in the car or not. So if someone's involved in a crash caused by an Uber driver, it's so important that they talk to our office or another personal injury law firm to understand what their rights are and what their responsibilities are and what kind of insurance coverage may be available under that scenario, because it could be a totally different scenario.
But some insurance companies exclude you operating your vehicles as a ride share, correct?
Correct. Yeah, Uber or Lyft has to have their own policy. And so they insure the driver while they're working for Uber at the time.
So we've seen in the news lately where there's people like that are Uber drivers that basically sell their accounts, right? They sell valid accounts that have good standing to people that maybe not even be eligible to work in this country, or to people that don't have either have a criminal record or can't get their own rideshare. I hate to pick on Uber, but rideshare accounts. Have you seen any of that?
I haven't seen that yet.
And how does that work out?
I haven't seen any of that yet.
It's pretty big. It's pretty big, apparently.
But I can assume that Uber's going to say, we insured that driver, not this driver, and so we're denying coverage for you.
So as part of this Clearwater Beach, when you call your rideshare, you need to make sure that matches the picture.
100%, yeah.
Because we were in Nashville, and it was not the dude that in the picture.
Really?
Right? And I'm like, this guy was strung out, man. We weren't going far. I'm like, never again.
Wow.
So check the license plate, check the driver photo, because I'm starting to hear a lot on this now, where people are actually selling accounts to allow people to drive rideshare, and then they get a percentage back.
Wow.
So they're doing multiple accounts. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. What I have seen is let's say you use an Uber driver to get to your destination. Well, then the Uber driver says,
Call me directly
and avoid the Uber.
Right.
You never want to do that, even if it's cheaper, because if he causes a crash, then that liability coverage that protects you would not be protecting you.
Right.
So for the extra $10 or $20, whatever it may be, pay that so you have that protection. It's so important. I've seen that too many times.
Interesting.
Yeah. But we do want to talk about e-bikes, because that is something that we are seeing all over the place nowadays, through e-bikes and scooters and such like that. I know there's many a post on ION Tampa Bay about e-bikes and scooters and accidents caused by e-bikes, but also vehicles causing injuries to e-bike operators. What are your thoughts on e-bikes?
I have two of them. They sit in my garage, and when I use them, I don't go in any areas. It takes two, right? You see the crashes. What percent fault? Is it party A versus party B? And if it was party B's fault, could it still been prevented? It's e-bikes they're everywhere. I was in University of Florida. Everyone had a moped. There weren't crashes all the time,
right?
Because people respected. You cross when you're supposed to cross. You knew you were going to check. And here it's just everyone's for themselves.
Well,
we're not used to it.
Yeah, people forget that an e-bike and a bicyclist, they are still responsible to follow the rules of the road.
Correct.
Sometimes bicyclists and e-bikes say, "Well, I'm on an e-bike, so I don't have to stop at the stop sign
or the pedestrian crossing."
I
was on East Bay today, getting to turn on like the I-19. This guy's he's on his e-bike doing 20, right? And he just crossed right across to go across the frontage road. Didn't even look, and the guy's making a right turn, came within an inch.
Wow.
I mean, it takes both. It takes everyone to pay attention.
Right. No, I agree.
It's nuts.
It is nuts.
So
right now the law says that you have to treat electric bikes or e-bikes like bicyclists. And so if you're under 16, you have to wear a helmet, just like you would for a bike. But there's new legislation being suggested. In fact, it's one step forward in the Senate, but we're still waiting for the House. And I think that is Senate Bill 382, and I know you're pretty familiar with that,
And House
Stephen.
Bill 243.
Yeah. So why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about what's happening up in Tallahassee that could impact the roads down here?
So we're in week 8 of the legislative session, right?
Yeah.
And everyone says, well, I want this, and then someone says, okay, but let's amend it. So it kind of keeps morphing as it goes through the process.
Right.
It's pretty watered down right now.
It is.
And so basically what they're saying is that if you're on a sidewalk or a pedestrian area, right, and everything in the law is just to be spelled out. I don't know how these things are all defined by pedestrian area, but I guess it would be a sidewalk.
Or
that you
like the Pinellas Trail or something like that.
Then you would be limited. I don't know how this would play out, but on sidewalks and pedestrian areas, speeds would be capped at 10 miles an hour if there's a pedestrian within 50 feet. So laws have to be enforceable, right? How do you do that?
I know.
So it sounds like it's gonna pass because it's just what it is. I don't think sheriff's office will be out there with a radar checking to make sure you're under 10 miles an hour with a tape measure to make sure you're within 50 feet, not within 50 feet of a pedestrian.
Right, and you have to have the part of the bill is you have to have an audible signal when you're passing.
Correct, an audible signal. I don't know if that means yelling or a bell
That's
or a whistle.
exactly true. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know
Audible,
if that's defined or not.
I don't know. A whistle, I guess, would be, or a little jingling bell. I don't soon enough to set decibel levels, right?
Yeah.
How loud can it be? So they are setting up. This is where the meat of it's going to come into. They're setting up a 9-member committee that'll have to put a report together, I think, by October 1st of this year.
Right.
And that'll be the additional proposals that we start hearing about. There's Class 3 is going to require, and Class 3s are the ones that go to 28 miles an hour versus Class 2 with a throttle capped at 20. And they're going to have to start making recommendations, and that's when it'll be interesting to see how that works out. And it's going to require law enforcement to start keeping statistics of crashes, dealing with what age groups we're dealing with, how fast was it going, how many watt motors they are, a lot of those details. So it'll be interesting that whatever that slant is or whatever that report is on October 1st is probably going to dictate changes going forward.
Right, and I think before it got watered down, there was a recommendation that there be a license requirement
for class 3. But mine's locked at 20. But I could override it and make it 28.
Right.
So if I don't unlock it, am I a class 2 or am I a class 3?
Right.
And then they're gonna have to send it for a forensic analysis to see what mode it was on.
But that was taken out of the bill, and now it's just
that's going to be part of
the task force is going to talk about.
They're going to talk about it and they'll decide it. But it sounds like it passed unanimously in the Senate. It's advancing fine in the House. It's going to go through, and we'll see what happens in October and what this report shows and what their suggestions are for age limits, licensing, and those kind of things.
Yeah, and Ed, you've been involved in some of the e-bike situations. You've seen it as you drive your motorcycle.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen was talking about 28 miles an hour. I don't know. Those are slow.
Some of them are blowing 35, 40.
I'm 35 miles an hour on my motorcycle. I looked, and this guy right on the sidewalk keeping right up with me.
On the sidewalk, which is
to
crazy.
me, that's where it's dangerous. And then when they get to an intersection, they don't even slow down.
No.
It's like being shot out of a cannon right across the intersection, and that causes accidents. And to me, we talked about the Pinellas Trail. There's a sign on every trail that says no motorized vehicles.
Except scooters, mobility, and 20-mile-an-hour e-bikes are allowed.
They must have updated that. I haven't seen that. I just remember no motorized vehicles. So
speed limit at 20. You can have an e-bike.
Yeah.
No motorized vehicles, but an e-bike's okay. And what you're referring to is you see these people, right? E-bikes have to have pedals. Some of them have little pegs, and they're running, they're running 35, 40 miles an hour. That doesn't require a law change. That is a motorcycle. That requires licensing. So, they're trying to enforce that, but that's already the law. If you're going over 28, you're not an e-bike. If your motor's more than 750 watts, you're an e-bike. You're a motorcycle.
I guess it's old-fashioned to pedal anymore.
No.
Yeah.
And the ones that really scare me are the scooters. And I'm talking about the ones where you put 2 feet on them.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, I couldn't ride them when they went 3 miles an hour.
That's right.
And they're doing another 30-mile-an-hour vehicle.
Yeah, they got
to me,
like,
that's
they
crazy.
got like the one wheels, and they control it with a Bluetooth controller in their hand.
Yes.
And they're running. Oh, yeah. There's been a lot of incidents with
wow.
those.
So
when
there's
you hit a
something
rock.
also, there's a fine if you modify it.
Yes.
Any of your e-bikes to
Right.
to make them go faster.
Over 28.
Yeah, something like $250 fine.
Well, that's kind of the problem you were talking about. Is these people on the e-bikes or even those scooters are just blowing through the intersection.
Right.
Well, if they cause a crash, there's no insurance. There's not going to be an insurance bodily injury liability on an e-bike. Now,
Not yet.
arguably, we could make a claim against the parents' homeowners policy, but nowadays homeowners policies are getting smarter and excluding
everything.
e-bikes and everything else. So
And there is some sort of restrictions for under 16, I believe.
they're talking about it.
Well, there's a helmet restriction
helmet?
right now,
Okay.
but then there may be something else.
There should be something with wattage too, as far as the speed. You know, maybe 350, like scooters, like regular motorized scooters. The 49cc.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a motorcycle license. Okay, you just have to have a regular. Now, if you go to a 150cc, then you have to have a motorcycle license.
Motorcycle
and you
endorsement.
gotta,
Yeah.
you have to take a test. So I think what they should do is these 750 watt bikes that do 28, 35 miles an hour. I think that kids under 16 years old, there should be a cap of some sort. Cut it in half and make it 150 watts. I don't know. Or,
Right.
350 watts. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you go to like the schools. I mean, you look at the bike racks. I went to school, you pedaled your butt, right?
That's right.
Here, it's like all these things are they're e-bikes and these scooters. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Somebody should try putting baseball cards in an e-bike spoke and see how long it lasts.
Remember those? Now we're all aging ourselves.
No, that's true. I think they do need to take steps to not only protect the e-bike operators and the scooter operators, but also the people that may be involved in situations, especially those on the sidewalk, that could be injured because of the misoperation of the e-bike.
Right.
And I'm not sure the task force is going to do what we need to do. It sounds good. It's pretty, but I'm not sure it's really going to do it.
But laws don't always change people's habits, right? You could say, we're going to do this and restrict this, and then you got enforcement costs, and people have to care. And we're in a society where it's like, it's tough.
Right.
People are going to do what they're going to do, and they're going to buck the system and revolt, and education obviously has to be a part of it, but I don't know how you do that.
Yeah.
Who's going to pay for it?
Yeah, and I did see that, and it's probably still in the bill. I don't think it's part of this task force, but I think they said that for the driver's license courses, that they're incorporating a portion about e-bikes and scooters and such like that, which I think is a good idea to do.
I mean, it's definitely a problem. I mean, you have more people on the road, but there's bicycle crashes too. But these things are heavier, right? They're faster, and they're becoming more prevalent. People are like, when there's a motorcycle crash, it's like, it's a big deal. But there's 100 and something crashes a day in this area. And most aren't fatal, right? Because you're protected. When you're on a motorcycle, it could just be just another crash. But it has much more severe injuries and death. And it's not like, why do you go report a motorcycle crash? Well, there's serious injury and or death.
Right.
And most of us have been involved in a crash sometime in our life.
Right.
And if you're on a motorcycle or an e-bike, you may not be here to talk about it. And that's the difference. I mean, mistakes happen, right? That's why there are crashes.
And I think motorcycle drivers like you, Ed, I think you appreciate the risk of driving a motorcycle.
I had mine 2 weeks, brand new one for 2 weeks, and look what happened. I got hit from behind, did a head over heels, and wound up in the hospital.
Yeah.
So it's.
But I don't think e-bike operators, or especially the scooter operators, really appreciate as much as a motorcyclist would appreciate the risk and the dangers of riding.
We're talking about protecting property, but what about lives? There are lives in danger. These people got to realize you're doing 35 miles an hour. You have to obey the laws on the road, just like a regular car does. If you're going to share the road, you have to obey the laws. If you blow through a light and you get nailed by a car, the outcome's not going to be very good.
No.
For the e-bike person.
Exactly true.
So we're talking about lives.
Yeah,
right. We're talking about lives. We're talking about even the person in the car, that now emotional trauma.
Yeah.
You know, it's everyone involved. It's not just it's that person's family member. I hear from all of them. You know, everyone's like, what about that person who now had to be there all day, and then lawsuits and everything else, and it changes. It affects a lot of people's lives.
Yeah, we got a comment on Facebook saying, I read an article last night, and New Jersey passed some e-bike laws requiring license and insurance. It's a good step. Yeah, now so.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. If there's a licensure, it's going to require insurance, and because insurance companies are not going to want to be involved. And
that's right.
But how does that affect? You know, when you look at the pros and the cons of e-bikes, you know, how does that affect people that can't afford a car? How does that affect mobility? People who have mobility issues. You know, the seniors and yeah, I mean, you got to look at all of those aspects and those people are paying the price because some people are being irresponsible. Right. Yeah, it's like every other law.
I haven't seen a senior doing 35 on an e-bike lately.
Well, those aren't e-bikes. Yeah. Again, those are motorcycles.
Well, in truth, the people that are getting, some of the people that are getting these e-bikes are the ones that cannot get driver's licenses. And you were talking about Clearwater Beach earlier. I told you earlier that now on Clearwater Beach, both sides of the road, you cannot have a motorized scooter or an e-bike on either side of the road.
Right, that whole beach walk is off limits too. I think even regular bicycles.
Complete.
Right.
I saw regular bicycles today. Yes.
On the beach side, like by Pier 60.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Maybe it's just
regular
motorized
bicycles.
then.
Yes. It clearly says it has a bicycle with the lightning bolt, and when I talk about the lightning, and a red circle around it, and the same thing with these scooters.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that something new that you saw, Ed? I haven't been to the beach in I don't know how long.
What was it? Last Saturday I saw it.
Okay.
It's the first time I saw it. I noticed it. They're right at every pedestrian crosswalk on both sides.
Well, I think that's smart because, I mean...
it's too much pedestrian traffic.
It says city ordinance.
Okay.
So there you go.
Yeah. I think that's important because those, especially on the Clearwater Beach, I mean, that is a pedestrian walkway. And there's so many pedestrians on there, and it's the beach. There's going to be young kids,
alcohol,
but also, but really, just the toddlers and stuff.
Yeah, it's not.
You got to be.
There's too many people. It's too much traffic. Sure.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with this bill. All right, that may turn into a law, and then I know I'll have you before the October task force comes with his report.
There's summary. Yeah.
But afterwards, Stephen, I'm going to want you to come back and let's see what we think the task force has done and whether or not that's going to be helpful or not. Not 100% sure about that, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Yes, you are listening to FLA Law on the radio. We do have just a few more minutes left. If you missed a portion of this, you want to listen to the show in its the entirety. I can't talk. You can tell it's getting close to 6. We do post the entire episode on our podcast channels at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the other podcast channels. All you have to look for is FLA Law on the radio, and you'll have this episode, and you'll have all the future or all the past episodes as well that you can always just refer back to it, and always give us a call with any questions you have on a future show about a show that you may have listened to. We only have a few minutes left, Stephen, but I want you to have an opportunity to talk about what you think is the most important thing that our listeners need to know that we may not have touched a great detail on when it comes to spring break in the next few weeks.
Now, we talked about it, situational awareness for everything, whether you're driving, whether you're on an e-bike, whether you're visiting areas you're unfamiliar with. Be smart, be aware of your surroundings. There's crime everywhere. Not saying this is a horrible crime area, but it doesn't matter where you go.
Yeah, it's true.
Marine life, boating safety, we talked about. Hydrate well. If you're going to the beach with children or people, that just stay together in pairs. It's not just children. When you go out on the water, say, hey, I'm going to go off for 15, 20 minutes. You always have the ones where the person didn't come back or they didn't see the person come out of the water. And they went back to the car. They went back to the hotel room. Meanwhile, the Coast Guard's looking. The Sheriff's Office looking. And it's a real burden on our law enforcement, our fire rescue personnel to look for someone who's really not missing. So it's all about communications, just a buddy system for everything.
That's right. And listeners, I strongly encourage you to follow Eye on Tampa Bay. on Facebook and on the website. Stephen spends a whole bunch of time making sure that we are up to date and we're taking steps to know the knowledge so we don't get hurt. So, Stephen, thank you very much
Thank
for
you for having me
spending an
back.
hour.
Appreciate it.
I know you have a Zoom call. You have to be at 6 o'clock, so...
Plenty of time. 15 seconds. I'm good.
Listeners, thank you for listening. I'll be back next week with another attorney to talk about, I think it's a probate law. But in the meantime, this is Matthew Noyes. Drive safely and be careful for those who don't. Take care.
Water.
FM 106.1.
WDCF, Dade City.
FM 102.3.
Listen.
CBS News on